If you would like to practice Tekton, I would highly recommend going into a challenge mode raid. Since Tekton is the first boss, you can basically just go in as many times as you like, teleport to your house for your spec back. If you even want that, but yeah. Okay, so the first method of Tekton, we're going to simply be running around it. Now, the thing with Tekton is he has pretty high defense, so we want to be starting it off with some hammers to start with to reduce his defense. Boundless God Sword would always also work, but if you have teammates with a hammer, then maybe let them get their hammers off first. Anyways, I think in this clip I actually forget to hammer, but it doesn't really matter. The method works with any weapon anyway, so feel free to just hammer spec and run around and then switch to your lance. Anyways, so when you start this room, you should have your teammates or whoever isn't luring Tekton to be at the edge of the room, away from it, so they don't accidentally lure it. No one should be running in like across the middle of the room of Tekton apart from the person that is actually luring it, and they should only do so when everybody's ready. Anyways, so what he does is he sits at the anvil until somebody is near enough to him that he sees them and he targets that person. So onto the video. That person will then go about 3 tiles away from him or so, and as soon as he gets off the anvil, the person needs to run right to the edge of the room. And what you're going to want to do is attack him before he gets to the edge of the room, because we want to run around him. So if we wait till Tekton gets actually to the edge of the room, then obviously we're cutting off an entire side. We won't be able to run around him anymore. So we want to attack him before he gets to the edge of the room. So just like that is lovely. And we're literally going to hit and run. And hit and run. Now if we were using a Warhammer or something slower, or Elder Maul, then obviously we won't be able to be hitting on every side like we are now, but it's not a big deal. So what it is Tekton simply is attacking the side that he is facing. So all you got to do is wait till he turns, wait a little bit, and then just run. Now, when Tekton gets back to the anvil, these little rocks will fall down, and all you got to do is move 2 squares, and as soon as you see the rocks explode on the floor, you move another 2 squares. Because what it is once those rocks explode on the floor, wherever you're standing when those rocks are landing, that is where the next rocks are going to be. So we can watch that again. So right now it's throwing rocks at that point. They exploded, I need to move 2 squares. They explode, move 2 squares. They've landed, move 2 squares. And it's as simple as that. Be careful not to go into other people's rocks. And it should also be noted that those rocks can also hit you not just if you're on the tile, but all the tiles around it as well. That's why we moved 2 squares instead of 1 square. Okay, now on to Tekton. Now as you can see, before it was orange and now it's actually red. So it will actually start off red and then go back to being orange after a period of time. While it's red, it's got a lot higher damage output and it's also a lot higher defense. So what you generally do is you would, if you don't have a lance or something that is crushed, then you would actually whip Tekton if it's low enough defense. But on the red phase, if you have a crush weapon alternative, then it's probably a good idea to be using that for when it's red phase, since it's higher defense. Anyway, on with the video. Simply attack it and run around. Attack it, wait till it turns and run around. Attack it, wait till it turns, run around. Now, things to watch out for is if you are on the corner tile, so if you imagine Tekton to be a bit like a square, if you're on the corner of Tekton, then while he's trying to hit you, then he will actually, if you're on the corner of Tekton while after he hit you, then actually he will go back to the anvil, because what he does is he scans the area around him to see if anybody's near him. If nobody is near him, then what he will do is just go back to the anvil. Although if somebody is near him, then he'll be trying to attack that place where that person is, obviously. And the corner tile doesn't count as being next to him, so watch out for that. Okay, so for the next section of the Tekton guide, we are going to be covering 4-tick weapons. Now, this is pretty simple. Okay, maybe not so simple, but we're going to use the fact that it hits first on its sword side, then on its hammer side. So because it's hitting its hammer side later, we're going to be trying to go over to that side to get extra hits in. Anyway, so we start as usual, put the hammer on, lure it out, and we're going to hit it before it gets to the edge, so that it cannot, so we can actually run around it, sorry. Anyway, so let's begin. This rotation won't start on the first phase because it's a shorter cycle, since it'll be going back to the anvil a lot sooner. And because we're starting off with a hammer, we're not actually gonna be able to get many extra hits off with the lance anyway. It's gonna be like 2 hammer hits and about 4 lance hits or so. Won't be too much, but let's go anyway. Simply just because the hammer is a slow item. So over there, I started it, I hit it, and I waited a tick. When it went down a bit, you kind of see its knees bend. That's when you run over to the other side around the corner, and then you saw me hammering it in this spot here. I walked over to the hammer side, so I would have some extra time since it hits later on the hammer side. Anyway, so I'm gonna run around the corner again, lance on, again run to the hammer side. Since my Warhammer was my last attack, my lance is gonna hit very slowly, so again I want the extra time to hit it. So I'm gonna hit it here. I'm gonna hit it once here, running around. Now here would be where I would get 2 hits, but it's gonna go to the anvil anyway. So the idea is you get 1 hit, and then you run around to the other side, and since it's still facing that side, you can get a hit on its sword side, and then you run over to its hammer side, and you'd get a hit in. Okay, I kind of missed a hit, but you would have gotten a hit in, and then yeah, but it's gone to the anvil only, so it doesn't really matter. So after these falling rocks, you'll get more of an idea. But the idea is, yeah, you're doing 1 lance hit on one side, running around the corner of Tekton, and then doing a hit while it's still facing away from you. Then it will face towards you. So over here, you wait to its knees bend, you hit it. Over hammer side, around the corner, hit it. Around the corner, hit it again. It's just turned, hammer side, hit, around the corner. You see it? So I'm getting 1 hit on this side, and I'm going to get 2 hits on this side. It's turning, hammer side, hit, and run. As soon as I get the hit off, I want to run, otherwise you'll be getting hit. Anyway. And again. So I did 1 on that side, I'm going to get 2 on this side. Okay, that was 2 on that side, but I got hit just because I misclicked the foot, but you get the idea. Anyway. And there you have it. Feel free to simply rewatch over it, but the idea is pretty simple. You're just hitting once on one side and twice on the next side. Okay, so now we're on to 6-tick weapons for Tekton. Now this includes Warhammer, so you can use it whenever you're Warhammer specking, and your Bandos God Sword will work for that as well. It'll work for God Swords, Elder Maul, and anything else that is the same speed as those, so 6-tick weapons. You could also use it with a scythe, however, there is a better method for a scythe where you wouldn't lose a tick. Anyway, so let's get into it. So what we're going to do here really is we're going to be abusing the fact that Tekton scans and then it hits. So it will scan the area around it to see if there's a player next to it, and if there is no player next to it, then it will go back to the anvil. However, if there is a player next to it, then it will swing. So we're going to stand next to it while it's scanning, but we're only going to be next to it for that 1 tick that it's scanning, and then we're going to yeet it again. We're just going to leg it, and it's going to throw out an attack, nothing's going to be there, and then we'll go back there, say, yo, we're here, and then it's going to do another swing, and we're not going to be there anymore. So, yeah, pretty fun stuff. And this is all a timing thing. You should also watch out for Tekton's fast attacks and its slow attacks. There'll be an attack where, so its normal attacks, it will just hit straight away, but there will be an attack where it pulls back its sword and does a really big swing, and that attack is 1 tick slower. So you've got to wait for that attack animation to finish before you go in and out again. So anyway, let's say we go. Oh, and at the start, it takes a while to actually start up. So if you just move back slightly. If we just move back slightly, we can see when we start, we'll be able to hit it, but then it's going to stand still for a moment, and we're going to move back once its legs are kneeled. So we'll hit it, it'll waddle around a bit, its legs kneel, that's when we click back. Popping Venge, and we're literally just going up to it and then coming right out. It's all a timing thing. If you're one tick late, that's it. It's come back to the anvil. We're not randomly going in and out. It's all a timing thing. So as normal, we're gonna go attack it, wait for its legs to kneel, we'll move back. That sink swing there is a normal attack. That again is a normal attack. That is a very big swing. So we have to actually wait till that swing finishes before we can be next to it. So watch out for that, because the small attack, we're gonna go attack it straight away. Whereas that attack, we're gonna have to wait one extra tick before we can hit attack. So watch out for those. Big swings, we'll wait a little bit. And it's literally just in and out, in and out. Wait for the attack, hit it and back. Hit it and back. Hit it and back. Very simple. All you've got to do is not be next to it when it's actually doing its attack, and be next to it for when it's just finished the attack, and you should be good on the timing. Now, what do you do when you're off timing? Well, actually, I think I did that at the start here when I was tanking Venges. Over here, you see it? I tanked hit, so you go in and out and in again. You just go in and out really rapidly, and that should literally just fix your tick. So we can watch that one more time. So you fuck up, and you get hit. Try again. So here's what you do if you fuck up and you get hit. And it causes you to be out of sync. So there, you would just go in and out really quickly without waiting any ticks. And that should fix your cycle. And then you're back on tick. Again, Venge. When you're tanking a Venge hit, just stand next to it for a little bit longer while it's empty, and then you move back. It's pretty simple. Okay, so for this section, we're going to be covering how to use a 5-tick weapon, i.e. a scythe, on Tekton. Now, this is going to be going between the. We're going to be hopping between the lance method and the flinching method of the maul, since we're going to be basically flinching it on 2 sides and doing the 4-tick method for the other 2 sides, as in running around it for the other 2 sides. Anyway, so off we go. On the first rotation, since it's so short, you're pretty much good to just flinch it the entire time, because it's you're hammering it twice. But as you can see, I went into the scythe method anyway over there, and I should be able to flinch it right here. And the next, yep, and it's back to the anvil. But I would have, if it was the actual rotation, I would have had 1 hit on that east side, and then run around to the north side and flinched it there. So let's skip forward a bit to an actual important part. See if I get it right this time. Anyway, okay. There we go. And as you can see, flinch it there. Easy peasy. You just getting a flinch on the north side and a flinch on the south side. It's all a timing thing, really. Flinch there, and it's already back to the anvil. It's 2 rotations, then it'll be back to the anvil. And feel free to simply rewind the video and keep looking over that if you would, if you want to practice. If you don't get a flinch off for some reason, you could just flinch on the east and west side if you're like one off on the rotation. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, if you're a bit confused and you know, if you're like messing up a bit, then feel free to just go back to flinching it or running around it, whatever floats your boat.